Hello fam. For those of you who are new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and support my channel. I appreciate every single one of you so very much. Today's video is brought to you for two reasons. The first one, because I started this last year and told myself I was going to do it, and I did one video and then I never came back to you with another one. And the second reason is because my friend Jacy, in the comments of my most recent videos, has really been harping on me about not coming back to you guys with some reviews of some products that I've hauled. For those of you who are unaware, a good portion of my videos, the first couple years I was on YouTube, at least the first year and a half, were hauls. A bunch of hauls. So today, as you saw in the title, today is recaps of the things that I hauled in April, May, and June of last year. And I will go ahead and link up in the cards the first video that I did in this series way back in like June of last year that recapped January, February, and March. So with that being said, I'm not sure which video these came from, but those will also be linked in the cards somewhere in this video for April, May, and June's haul. But I am just going to walk through some of the items that I have and maybe don't have and talk to you about those items that I hauled. So the first thing, I still have most of these in my collection, so that's a good thing, right? The first thing we're going to talk about is this. It is the Tarte Foundsealer Multitasking Foundation with SPF 20 in it. This is a foundation that I have put into my project pan for this year, and the reason why is just because it's older. It says it doesn't expire until November of this year, and it still smells really good, and most foundations do expire quite rapidly. This one just doesn't. I remember when this first came out, I was like, I have to have that. I have to try it. I was looking at getting it from Ulta, and it didn't come to Ulta right away. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to get it because I was really kind of trying to get out of the mindset of going to Sephora and getting items. I have since got over that, but I did purchase this. It ended up actually coming to Ulta, and I did purchase it. What I will say is that Rocket Fire review of this, it's not my favorite. I have since discovered that I don't really get along very well with Tarte complexion products. I don't like Shape Tape. It's my least favorite concealer out there. I have tried multiple Tarte foundations and they're just not my favorite. This is not my favorite. I do like it. It is decent. It sits on my skin in a way, however, that I can kind of feel it. It comes off on my fingers. It isn't transfer proof. I love the container of this because you pop this little thing up and then you can pump it onto like your hand or your palette, whatever you're using. I also like that you can see its usage. It is a really good color match for me. It is in 16N, so Fairlight Neutral. It's a good color match for me. It is a decent foundation. It's just not my favorite. I find that I have to powder it, and I don't typically like to powder my face. With that being said, there is a powder in this that I absolutely love, and we'll go over that in a little bit. The next thing I got was this. It is, I got this at TJ Maxx, and my friend Grace was with me when I got it. I think it was TJ Maxx. It might have been Marshall's. My friend Grace was with me when I got it. I loved the look of this brush, but you guys can see I haven't even used it. What I will tell you is that it would be the perfect brush for like contour. It just kind of fits right into that hollow really super easily. And I have like brushed it across my face. It does feel very nice. It is just not a brush I pick up very often because of the shape of it. I have an e.l.f. one also that's kind of similar shape. The difference between this one and the e.l.f. one is the e.l.f. one has a much thicker like base, so it can stand up on its own. So it stands right next to my brush caddy, this brush caddy right back here. That black thing right there, that's the e.l.f. brush that's kind of shaped like this one, only it has a much thicker base, so I can stand it up on its own, and this one can't stand up on its own, so it's in a completely different section of my room, my vanity, and so I don't think to grab it very often. I think that is an opportunity for that brush, that style of brush. I would love to use it. I just don't think to because of where it sits in my makeup collection. The next thing is this. It is the Urban Decay Vice Special Effects Lip Topper. This is in the shade Reverb. This is also something that I picked up when I was with Grace at Marshall's, and I actually quite love this. I love the little purple effect that it gives to the lips when you put it on top of any lipstick or lip gloss or anything that is it is just so stinking pretty, and I actually quite love this. You guys can see that there is quite a, hopefully, maybe, there is quite a bit of usage out of that. Not a lot of usage, but there is quite a bit of usage out of it. What scares me is it's now like going on a year old, right? But it still smells really like it did the day I picked it up. The next thing is this. It is a bullet lipstick by Too Faced, and it is in Pixie Stick, and this came from their 90s collection where they were going through what they used to look like. That is what the name on the tube looks like, and then of course what they look like now. And this is just another purple lipstick. Again, I really dig this lipstick. I think it's super pretty, and it smells just like it did when I first picked it up. That is its shade. It's just a little too wild for me, if I'm honest, but I love it. When I do wear it, I get a lot of compliments on it, and I love it. It does have a little bit of glitter in it, so that in and of itself kind of shies me away from using it very often because it is a metallic lipstick, and metallics kind of make your lips look old. So I try and steer clear of them as much as possible, but I do love that lipstick. It is just so pretty. I also at that same time picked up this guy. I think Grace talked me into this. This is the Too Faced Melted Latex and Unicorn Tears. You guys, I actually haven't used this at all, and it makes me sad because it is just super pretty. I have swatched it, but I haven't used it at all. It's super pretty. It seems like it would go really well over the top of any lipstick as well. Here's the thing though, I hate these liquid latex lips. I don't like them at all. I like the Too Faced Melted formula. I just don't like the Too Faced Melted latex. I find that the melted latex kind of moves. It migrates where it wants to migrate to, so I've been afraid to try this. That being said, this is a really light, like iridescent, like lavender shade, and it might actually look okay. Even if it migrates, it might not look horrible when it does so. So I think I'm gonna just pull it out, maybe start using it a little bit more, start using it period, because I remember how excited I was to get it into my collection, and I just haven't used it. All right, the next thing is this bad boy. This is the Morphe James Charles palette. As you guys can see, I have used this. It was a palette roulette of mine, but you guys can hardly tell that I've used it. These pans are just so big, but this palette is so pretty. It works really well if you like know what you're doing, basically. If you pack it onto your lids versus blend it, I think it works better. I love the fact that it's got the giant pans in the center of the more normal colors for you to use in any eye look. But this truly, if you are in the market for a giant palette, because really that's what this is a giant palette. If you're in the market for a giant palette and you want one that will give you the abilities to create any eye look that you want to create. This is the palette for you, because it's got the giant pans of the neutral tones that you're going to need for every single eye look, but it's also got those warmer tones and those more neutral looking tones for, you know, normal everyday wear, which are the ones like down here, these 2 rows. And then these 2 give you your pops of color. I really do like this palette. It wasn't one I was going to pick up. I'm not a James Charles fan, but I'm glad that I picked it up. I also hauled in one of those videos, Cinema Secrets. Cinema Secrets is the brush cleaner that I use every single time there is an available sale. As a matter of fact, I need a new one. This is what I have currently. I need to pick up a new one. I have tried to get out of the habit of picking one up just to pick one up. So the last 2 Sephora sales, I haven't picked one up, and now I'm kind of regretting that because I need another one, and there's no 20% off coming at me, and I don't want to spend $42 on it. So I also, in one of those hauls, had an IT Cosmetics brush bath that I got, which is kind of similar to that, but it is by IT Cosmetics, and it is the brush cleaner that I used to use before discovering Cinema Secrets. It is also a brush cleaner that I can't stand these days. So since finding Cinema Secrets and realizing what a good brush cleaner is going to do for your brushes, I really don't like the Cosmetics brush bath. It comes in a much smaller container. It is $18, whereas that one is just about a little over twice the amount, or twice the price, and you get a ton more. So I just don't feel like it's worth it, and I don't feel like it cleans my brushes very well either. I think if you're looking for a good use-to-use brush cleaner that is good to your brushes, treats them well, and smells good too, because that Cinema Secrets has kind of a vanilla scent to it. It's a little more chemical vanilla, but it has a nice vanilla scent to it, and it just really cleans them well. The Cinema Secrets is where it's at, and it does come in 3 different sizes. You can get it in different sizes, from travel friendly to a little like half that size to that size. So there's multiple levels of price if you're looking for something to meet your price point, but also looking for something to clean your brushes very well. I am somebody who's kind of crazy and cleans my brushes in between uses. Every single time I use them, I do clean them, which is why I go through the Cinema Secrets like I do. You don't necessarily have to do that. I do, and that's why I blow through Cinema Secrets like I do. I think last year I used 4 bottles of that stuff. The next thing I have is this, and this is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Skin Perfecting Micro Powder in medium. You guys, when I picked this up, I picked it up on a whim because I had heard a lot of other YouTubers raving about this powder. I'm not a powder person at all. I have a ton of other powders that are loose powders, and maybe that's what the difference is. Maybe I just need to stick with pressed powder. But as you can see, I have used the poop out of this. I use this almost every day. Again, it's been in my collection for almost a year. I use it almost every single day. I'm not quite out of it yet. It is in my project pan because I know it's going to be something that I use up here in the very near future. It is a powder that even at, I think it's $46, it's a powder that I will repurchase. I love this powder. I love this powder. I use it every single day. The next couple things on my list are these, and they are powders by Hourglass, and I did get the Ambient Diffuse Light by Hourglass, and I got the Ambient Mood Exposure by Hourglass. One is a blush, and one is like a finishing powder. And I just got the little tiny sample sizes, and you guys, I have used these both pretty regularly for the last year, and you can't even tell. There's not even a dent on either one of them to speak of. I really do like these powders. What I will say is the blush, I am wearing it today. It's not super pigmented. It doesn't last on my skin very long. It's not my favorite blush, but it is beautiful. It's a beautiful blush. While it is on your face, it is a beautiful blush. The diffused light like finishing powder, I don't use quite as much as I use this because I just kind of fell in love with this. But when this is gone, I am going to use this up prior to buying another Charlotte Tilbury powder. But this does have a little bit of a slight glow to it. I feel like it is right. It's right there. It does have a little bit of a glow to it. So I can't use it like all over my face. I have to be really strategic about where I put it because otherwise it looks like I've got highlighter on my under eyes and that's not good. I can use it all over the rest of my face. I just have to have a different powder under my eyes if I put a powder under my eyes. Again, the blush is good. It's a really pretty blush. It just doesn't stay forever. And maybe it's about the tone of it. I do love the tone of this blush though. I feel like it is a pretty perfect, like, oh, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a pretty perfect blush for me. I find that it ranges right in there in that natural mindset of blush, and that's kind of like where I like to see my blushes at. I don't like to have like roaring red cheeks from my blush. So the next thing on this list is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. I liked that primer. I typically have issues with Milk Makeup. I don't know what ingredient it is in their formulation of their products, but Milk Makeup and my skin do not typically get along with each other, which makes me sad because almost everything I've tried from Milk has like broke me out in a way. Either like giving me a rash, made my eyes burn out my face or something. So it makes me sad in a way because I really want to try their stick foundation, but I'm terrified to. I really want to try their cream bronzer stick, but I'm terrified to. A lot of their products do come in a sample size version though, so I might try that first. My Hydro Grip Primer was a sample size. It did cost me $15 at Sephora. I liked it. I don't remember that it gave me any kind of rash or anything. What I loved about it is it was kind of tacky. It was super cooling and it was kind of tacky to the touch. So I felt like the makeup went on and stuck to that primer better than it has any other primer I've ever put on my face. The next thing is this. It is the Cover FX Power Play Concealer. This is still in my collection. It is the concealer that I use on a daily basis. It took me probably about 6 months to crack this bad boy open and really start using it. I do have the shade N Light 1 and I love it. I love this concealer. I think that it's super emollient. I love that you get 0.33 fluid ounces of this, so it's like a lot of concealer. I love the doe foot on it. It is like a ball, so it doesn't matter how you're putting it on. It just kind of rolls onto your face. I really like this concealer. I think that after I use this concealer up and use my other concealers that I have in my collection, if I get a new concealer, this will probably be my everyday holy grail concealer because I really do like it. I feel like the coverage is good. I feel like it covers my dark circles the way I want it to. I feel like it's emollient enough that it doesn't make my under eyes or anywhere else that I put it on my face look super dry. And I don't know, I just think it's a really good concealer. I've heard a lot of great things about it, which is why I picked it up in the first place. But that, in addition to the fact that you just get so much in this container, is enough for me to pay the, I think, $30 to $38 that it is for this concealer. It makes me want to try the foundation with the same name, but that foundation is super full coverage and I'm not typically a full coverage foundation kind of girl. So next thing is this. It is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. I picked this up in a haul then too. I love this palette. I picked it up because of Hannah Louise Poston. She was on like a no buy or a low buy at that point in time. I think a low buy at that point in time, but she raved and raved and raved about this palette that she got as a gift from one of her subscribers. This is what the palette is. You guys, I just used this in a palette roulette and I will link that video up in the cards for you. It is a beautiful palette and this dark like teal shade is to die for. This shade here, beautiful. This one here that you're looking at that looks kind of like chartreusey green in your video or in your screen. When I look at it from this angle, it looks kind of pink. It is such a beautiful, beautiful shade. This palette was not one I was going to pick up because it's just so plain. It looks very boring. It's not boring. I love this palette. Is it worth the $129 that it costs? Maybe, maybe not. It depends on how you feel about it. But I suggest you go watch my palette roulette on it. I kind of dive into the cost of it and what it looks like from a different perspective. And I think that will help give insight into Natasha Denona's shadows and why I don't care about spending the $129 that she's asking for her bigger, larger size pan palettes, because it's just compensatory to a lot of other shadows that I have in my collection. But the shadows are better. The next one, I purchased a lot of dang palettes that month, but I'm going to go into this first. This is the Smashbox Hood Witch highlighter. You guys, I bought this guy simply for the packaging. And I only know that because I have used it once. You guys can see that it is still like very much in its natural state. It is a beautiful highlight, but I just haven't used it. It just, that's not a very good swatch. Look, how pretty is that? I just don't use it. I need to. It's a beautiful package though, and that is why I bought it. It is so, so pretty. And it actually kind of reminds me of the Too Faced like heart-shaped highlighters that they had at one point in time, the pink one. I think they're called Love Highlights or Love Is Highlights or something like that. I can't remember. I gave that highlight to my daughter because I didn't like it, but I do like this one. It reminds me of that highlight, but in a better formula. The next thing I have is this. It is the ABH Alyssa Edwards palette. I believe that this was the beginning of the Rocket Fire palettes that came out from them. And you guys, I love this palette. It is so, 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 so pretty. I have used it just a couple of times. I cannot wait to use it again. I do not think it's shown up in my palette roulette series, but this is a palette that I purchased that I automatically had to use. It came out in June, I think. We had some Pride festivities going on, and I had to pull it out for those festivities. This is a beautiful palette. I love the ABH formula, so you'll never hear me talking poorly about an ABH palette. Not even Subculture, which was so many people's least favorite ABH palette. I love Subculture, so I'm probably that anomaly person, but I love it. So great palette. The next palette I picked up was this one. It is the Viseart Soleil Petite Pro, and it has the very same color scheme as the Alyssa Edwards palette, and as you guys can see, there's still the plastic on here. Haven't even used it. So I really don't know what to say about that, except for that if you all know my channel, you know that the struggle is real, and I'm trying. I'm trying to start getting my fingers on things that I haven't tried yet in the past. So I really can't give you any kind of thought process on that Viseart Petite Pro palette, but I do love the color scheme, and I do love Viseart. I have to imagine it's a good palette, but I'm not 100% sure. The next thing I purchased was this Natasha Denona Tan, Bronze, and Glow palette. When I look at all these items I have, I wonder exactly how much I spent in that April, May, and June time frame, because it's a little terrifying. This one, again, is one that I haven't even touched. So I can't give you any kind of thought process on this, except for to say I do have this in the blush one that she made, and it is spectacular. And this kind of has the same kind of theme. These two are cream products, these two are powder products, and I can't imagine it is awful, because it is, after all, Natasha Denona. What I love about these little tiny palettes is they are perfection for travel. I will get to this. I will get to this. But that's all I got for that right now. The next one was this. It is the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. Again, I do have a palette roulette on this one that I will also link up in the cards. This is same kind of color scheme as the Petite Pro and kind of same kind of color scheme as the Alyssa Edwards. And I have to tell you that this is probably why the Petite Pro hasn't been touched, is because I dug into this one first and I really just fell in love with this. This is a smaller Natasha Denona palette. So this one was only $65. It does have the smaller eyeshadow pans. I think this is probably a pretty perfect size of palette. Natasha Denona does not have to do the giant pan shadow palettes that she does. This is a little easier to swallow when you think of cost. I am all for paying $65 for a shadow palette that works well, that has amazing shades in it, but a lot of people just can't afford the $129 one. So I hope that she comes out with more in this like size. I do know that she's come out with one more since making this one, maybe two more since making this one, and the Love palette, the, you know, Valentine's Day palette that she just came out with is one of them. And then we had this. I don't think I went over this. This is the Bite Beauty Agave Lip Mask. Looking at this and seeing that this is a year old in my collection, or almost a year old in my collection, makes me wonder if this isn't bad. It does have a really weird smell to it, but it came with a really weird smell. It kind of feels like a, almost like a bag balm that you would put on your lips. I really do like it. I feel like it keeps my lips feeling super soft. I put it on typically in the mornings when I'm doing my makeup, and then when I'm ready to put on lipstick, I will take it off and put a lipstick on, and my lips just, the lipstick glides over my lips so much easier than it does when I haven't used it. So in addition to that, during this time frame, I also got a Create Your Own Tarte kit, in which I got Hair Goals Dry Shampoo, which I haven't even tried yet. I got a lip pencil from them in Mood Ring. It is this one, and it's not necessarily my favorite. I think that it is kind of dry. I feel like I have to tug a bit on my lips when I am putting it on my lips. It doesn't meld into my lips as easily as some of my creamier pencils do. And I think that's the problem with it. It's just not creamy. It's just not creamy. It's a retractable lip pencil that I use. I just don't use very often. It's also a lot more berry than I thought it was going to be. I got it because the exterior of the packaging makes it look a little more burgundy, and it's just not. I will say though that it does have some stain power to it. That's after me trying to wipe it off. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I did try and wipe it off with a wipe, and it's just not coming off. The Opening Act Lash Primer I actually used. I fell in love with lash primers at some point last year, and I really did like the Tarte one. The Tarte one was really good. I currently have one that I'm using by Lash Food, and I hate it. I don't like it at all. But I used the Tarte one, and I used the CoverGirl one. The CoverGirl one was probably my favorite, but the Tarte one wasn't bad. So I did like that one. So this is the Tarte blush that I got in that Build Your Own Tarte kit. This also is not the color that I really wanted it to be. I kind of wanted it to be a little more of a dark, muted, like almost burgundy tone, and it is a lot more pink. So I don't use it as much, but you guys, these blushes are amazing blushes. They last forever on your face. You know, your skin sometimes feels like it eats away at your blush, which is a problem that I have with the Hourglass one, is I feel like it just kind of evaporates into my skin. These ones don't. They look like you have blush on your face all day long. And then we also have the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Water Foundation. This is not the color that I should have got. It's light golden. It really doesn't look very good on my skin. It's supposed to expire in October of this year, and I would be willing to bet it will probably be just as full in October as it is now. Look at how yellow that is compared to my skin. Like, I am really yellow complected, but this is super yellow. It's a really lightweight foundation, and I love it because of that, because I do like more of a natural lightweight foundation. but this one is just not it. I hate the applicator process in this. This is a dropper, and there's just not much that you get up in that dropper to help you out. Like, I feel like you have to go in like 15 times to get the kind of coverage that you want, and even then you could probably give yourself another 5 dunks into that vial in order to like make your face look even. I also feel like it breaks apart on my face a lot quicker than most other foundations do. So like halfway through, not even halfway through, like a quarter of the way through my day, I've got no foundation in places and clumps of foundation in other places, and maybe that's because I'm using too much. I'm just not sure how to use this foundation in a functionable format. And then we also got the Man-Eater palette. I'm not sure where that palette is. It might be in my backups drawer. It also might be in my giveaways box. It also might have already gone away in a giveaway. I don't think it's in with my regular cycle of palettes, so I'm not sure where that palette went, but Tarte eyeshadows and I also have a love-hate relationship. They're very, very neutral and very, very boring, so I don't pull for them very often. I cannot tell you the last time I pulled for a Tarte eyeshadow on purpose. So you guys, also during this time frame, I went to GMC. I got boxes and boxes and bags full of Gratis. I'm not going through all that Gratis. So, Jacy, I'm sorry. If you want to know how I liked any of those products, please ask. So those are rocket fire reviews of the things that I hauled into my collection in April, May, and June of last year. If you have anything to add or any other questions that you'd like me to answer on any of these products, please put it down in the comments down there. I would love to interact with you down there. I hope that you guys all enjoyed this video, and I hope that if you did, you're considering giving it a big thumbs up. It really does help our channels out here. I also hope that you liked it or me enough that you're considering subscribing to my channel. I do put up content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and every other Sunday onto my channel, and I would love to have you along for this crazy ride of mine. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that your month is treating you kindly, and until next time, bye guys.